What's going on, Spitfires? Welcome back to another episode of the Spitfire Podcast. I'm Lauren Lemonian, your host, and I hope you are having a magical week. The birds are chirping outside. I don't know if you can hear them, but spring is here and the flowers are blooming and lots of change happening. So it's been a couple weeks since I've recorded an episode. I've been traveling, I've been packing, and I am about to move from Washington, D.C. to Denver, Colorado. And last week I went and spoke at my first in-person large-scale conference in almost 3 years. I wore heels for the first time, which by the way started disintegrating. Bizarre. Threw those away. And I was able to really sit in a new space. And so I wanted to share a theme that came up while I was at the conference and also in some coaching sessions that I've had this week. And I thought, you know what? If I'm hearing it in all of these places, I think that this needs to be brought up to the surface because I think that this is going to resonate with a lot of you. So last week, I went and spoke on two topics over 2 days. The first was how to build trust in remote teams, and then the second day was about maximizing time. And I kept hearing a lot of storytelling, a lot of excuses of, well, we have to do it this way. This is how we've always done it. This is who I am. This is how I always am. And there were so many labels and boxes about expectations, obligations, duty. And I understand the responsibility that comes along with this profession. I understand the magnitude of what it means to be an adult and to be a parent. And I thought about it. I sat in it. I was like, they're not telling the whole story. They're not telling the truth. And this came up just a couple minutes ago with my client. And they came in saying, I want to feel like more of an authentic leader. I want to be able to show up as more of myself. And I'm like, that's not what this is about at all. There's something underneath here. We need to go some layers deep. And so I asked her after, kind of listening to what authenticity was for her. And I said, so on a scale of 0 to 100%, how authentic do you think you are in the office? And she paused and she said, I think I'm at about 75%. And then I asked her, so what do you think is included in the other 25%? And so she immediately went to, well, I think it's all what I'm not doing right. You mean what I'm missing? And I said, nope, that wasn't the question. The question was, what do you think is included in the 25%? And so we then started talking about confidence. Well, if I were more confident, then I would feel more authentic. And I asked her, so what does confidence give you? Well, it gives me a sense of knowing that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm having impact, that I'm showing up in the way that people need me. And so I started thinking there's something underneath here. I don't think this is about confidence at all. And the word permission popped up for me. And I asked her, so what would it take for you to feel like you had permission to be confident? And so then she said, well, if I heard it from someone above me, if I heard it from someone with more experience, a higher title. And I thought, that's not this at all. That's not what it is at all. It's not about people outside of us. And so this was the lie that she was telling, and I think a lot of us tell ourselves, that we need to get permission from people of authority, from people with experience, from people with status. Because then once we get that permission, we think it's going to click us over into being fully formed, self-actualized, confident beings. And the reality is, we could be getting those compliments already, but they're not filling us up in the way that we expect them to. It's really a drop in the bucket, to be honest. These are things that are maybe a couple hours, maybe even the day, maybe a couple days of, I feel really good about myself. And then what happens? We get distracted with our day and our negative self-talk, and we don't remember what this person said. We don't remember the truth about how they see us. And so my question is, why do we put so much stock there? And what would it look like if you could build your own internal confidence? And that's what we focused on, telling the truth. You see, the thing is, we are so programmed to feel less than, to feel inadequate, to feel unworthy, There are literally companies created to sell products to fill the void of our inadequacies, whether it's about looks or health or money. We have become consumers to fill the void inside of us. So what does it take to fill yourself up, to tell the truth? Well, the reality is you are experienced, you are resilient, you are smart, you are creative, you are loving, you are joyful. You are all of these things, whether or not someone else tells you, because you believe it. And if you don't believe it, then start asking yourself, who am I? Who am I without the long resume, without the accolades, without the stamps of approval? Who am I at the core? And am I good with that? Am I satisfied with that? And if the answer is no, what would you change that would make things so different? And how would that change things for you? Who would you become if you could change these things about yourself? And that is the key. Because when you know how you want to show up, you can start behaving that way now. You can start aligning yourself to that future vision of yourself. Not in an avoidance way of, I don't want to be this person, but of saying, I'm going to emulate and embody these qualities because that's how I want to show up. That is your choice. And in choice is power. It's freedom. You see, when we feel inadequate, we're looking to other people to fill us up, and we're always at a deficit. Imagine feeling abundant with excess that you could then freely give positive remarks to, gratitude, compliments, praise, time to someone else. So that's the first step, is slowing it down and telling the truth about yourself. Acknowledging that the lies that were told about you were not from you. They were from generations past, systems past, recreating those feelings of inadequacy. You are more than enough. You are here for a reason. You're here to do amazing things. And the sooner you believe that, the sooner that you win. Every day, every moment. And it's not a competition because you exist. You're here. And you're here to do big work. This isn't about what other people think of you. This isn't about what they give you. This is about you giving back to yourself and feeling connected to who you are and what you're here to do. And if you're not there yet, that's okay. You're on your way. But I want you to sit with those questions. Who am I? What am I here to do? What lights me up? And focus on creating intentional actions, intentional steps to support that. Get back to the core of who you are. This isn't about reading a self-help book. This isn't about taking a course. This is a very basic thing that you can do right now. Take 5 to 10 minutes in the morning and just journal, write. Dump it out, but tell the truth. And if an old story comes up, which they are bound to do, acknowledge it as an old story, highlight it, circle it, and then rewrite the story that you want it to be. That future vision story. You see, our thoughts and actions got us here, and if we want to go somewhere else, we need to change those thoughts and actions. We need to behave differently. This doesn't mean changing who you are, but shifting in the direction that you want to go into. Just let that sink in. Let that soak in. There is nothing wrong with you. There is everything right with you. It's time to shed the old stories. It's time to shed the lies that we have absorbed as truth. And it's time to start telling our own truth to ourselves and especially to other people. I'm sending you all a big hug, and I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you get inspired by this. I'm going to re-listen to it for myself. I just kind of talked out loud, and I hope this was helpful. And if you're not subscribed already to the Spitfire podcast, well, you better do it because it's the place to be. Go on Spotify, Google Play, or Apple Podcasts and check out spitfirepodcast.com for any past episodes, or if you want to subscribe through that website, you can do that too, and tell a friend. And you all keep being awesome.